follow up a pretty big, most memorable season in Mississippi State history, so no pressure.
Yeah,
right?
no pressure.
How do you feel kind of entering the campaign?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a different group. I think we all know that. Obviously, graduated, 7 or 8 starters, and of those, 6 or 7 went and played pro. So that season was historic. Had a lot of fun, but it's a new group, right? And it's a new staff. It's a new group of players. So we're really excited. Last night we came out and the energy was awesome. Being really, really intentional in what we're trying to do, and we want to make sure that we have our foundation for who we want to be and how we want to continue to represent Mississippi State. So, it'll look different, but we're really, really excited about the opportunity.
What made you want to stay here and be the head coach instead of maybe going to Auburn?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I met my wife here. She's pregnant. This has become a second home to us. The community's been incredible. The support that we've had from administration has been incredible. And, obviously, I know quite a few of these players going through the recruiting process, and always wanted to be a head coach and have that opportunity, and had an opportunity to learn and grow over these last 5-6 years and years before that. So this is like home for me, and really, really excited about the opportunity.
Did that make a seamless transition? You were here.
Yeah, I mean, some of it. Yeah, I think some of it was seamless in that the administration, who to call, who to reach out to. So that was nice. Obviously, knew quite a few of the players, not all of them. So obviously that helps. Not having to move, I think, is one that obviously helps as well. But we did have to hire a new staff, right? Obviously keeping Coach Vic, who, in my opinion, is the greatest strength coach in the country, was a huge positive for us. But also, it gave us an opportunity to go out and have new, right? New is exciting. New is cool for me, just because you kind of get into a rhythm, and I want to learn and grow. And we've brought in a staff that has challenged me, and we grow and learn together every single day.
You were part of kind of building the identity that's developed here over the last few years. How big was that as part of the transition in terms of knowing the players' strengths already, but also knowing the recruits' strengths?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, I think we're a team now that we have an idea of who we are and what we're about, but also bringing in certain players and new players along with new staff. It's continuing to evolve on that, right? I think the game is continuing to evolve, and we want to make sure that our identity stays true to the Mississippi State fans of being hard-nosed, hard-working. We're going to be relentless. We're going to be, a team that is high risk, high reward. We want to create, chances. We want to high press. We want to do, we want to be a team that is one that Mississippi State fans come and watch, and they want to come back.
Let's talk about your transfers a little bit. Obviously, some newcomers. How do you feel about your transfer class?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all unique. We've kind of found a niche here since I've been here of finding players that we feel embody our core values. You had players from Southern Miss, Alana, and now you have another Southern Miss player in Rebecca Vega who, does some things that, has some qualities that we really, really like in what we're trying to do, especially from an attacking side. You have Kyra Taylor from Louisiana Tech that ultimately was freshman of the year, right? And so, you've got Nancy Almanza, who was all-conference player of the year at Jacksonville State. So you look at some of these pieces, and, they had a lot of success at where they are. And we want players that are hungry. We want players that want to grind, they want to get after it, they want to learn and coach. And we feel that, if this is what you want to be in an environment of total football, then this is the best place for you.
How have the just last 8 months been for you personally? Learning the ropes of being a head coach at this level.
It's certainly a whirlwind. I mean, it's been crazy. A lot of the coaches here have talked to me about, drinking from the fire hose, and but again, I've leaned on my staff. They've been incredible. The support staff, the staff that was here with me before we added the new staff, the administration, compliance, really everyone, and then the players ultimately. Them texting me, Coach, we trust you, we go where you go. That gives you a really cool feeling that, they're buying into and they believe and ultimately trust, the direction of the program, but also that we're always going to do what's best for them.
You lost a lot of experience, but in terms of the returning players, it seems like there's a nice balance of young talent as well as leaders.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you bring back the likes of Allie Perry, Zoe Main, Kennedy Husbands, quite a few others that gave you a lot of valuable minutes, but also I think it's nice because they know what it took to be successful. And then you have these new players now that come in that are super hungry with something to prove, but they also know that there's expectations and the legacy in which that group last year left is something that we want to continue to expand, right? We talk about standards and expectations, and every day we want to try and continue to stretch them further and further.
It was a defender that came off the bench for you last year. Do you think you'll have more increased role in this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have a smaller roster, and that was somewhat by design. We want to make sure that we have the right pieces, but ultimately ones that we can continue to constantly rotate. We've got a schedule that's we feel non-conference that's going to test us, that's going to give us challenges, that's going to create opportunities to prepare us for the SEC. But with that smaller roster, is we want to get more players involved, right? You want to go deeper. That's where I think there's 16 freshmen or sophomore, right? So the only way that they're going to get experience and get reps is to get opportunities out on the pitch, and that's what we're going to look to do here, not only in preseason but as non-conference goes on.
Your experience last year really enabled the team to counter press and maintain attacks and maintain possession. This might be a question for a couple weeks from now, but do you think that you're still going to have that level of play up front and with the younger players?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we've last night's session was on that. I think it's who we are. It's our identity, right? It's something that we believe is going to be a non-negotiable for us, and it's something that you have to continue to train, right? Players have to want to do it. They have to want to buy in, and we're driving it home in training, and then also when we're meeting, doing film, and going over this is us. Like, these are great examples of what we are and who we are, and then these are some examples of what's not our standard. And so it's making sure that everyone is in alignment and understanding what we're looking for, both on and off the field.
Anything else for Nick? Thank you, Nick.
I guess one more
Yeah.
with Allie. I know she had a chance to go pro. What did it mean to you that she trusts you with her last year of eligibility, but also that you have that leadership?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, we sat down, or I sat down with Allie and kind of said, what do you want? I was fortunate enough to play overseas, and train over there, and it's different, right? And so for her to come back and really kind of sit down and develop a development plan for her, from the mentality side of it as well, not just the soccer side of it, was something that we felt was really, really important. We want to put players in environments to have success, and we felt like her taking on that leadership role in another year could really continue to make her an even better player than she already is.
Well, Allie, you're back again. So how is this maybe preseason a little bit different than last year? I know last year you feel like you guys could really compete. What's your feeling level of confidence right now?
Obviously this year we have a bunch of new faces, which I actually feel like makes it more of a competitive environment because we're all competing, like we're new for new spots, new opportunities, so I feel like in a sense it's still the same, even more competing than before. And we're also working on building relationships on and off the field, which we already had somewhat of that in previous years, so I feel like that is the biggest difference.
What's the difference between Nick's an assistant, Nick's a head coach?
Really,
any difference?
Really, not that much difference. It's still his same energy, his same soccer IQ. What we're doing in practice is still the same, so smooth transition.
And how has it been for you being someone that some of these younger players are looking up to a little bit more as somebody who has the experience, scoring goals, but also knows the system and knows this coaching staff?
It's been fun helping others. A lot of them have been helping me too, obviously in this role that I'm getting asked a lot more, and for them to be able to rise up and do the extra stuff without me having to tell them has been making my job easier. So really we've been all working together, but it's been nice having to guide people and people leaning on me. So
In that respect too, I mean, you're kind of the face and the spokeswoman of Mississippi State soccer this year, and I know last year you had Maddie and some other players have been around. How are you kind of engaging that aspect of it, of kind of being the leader on and off the pitch?
There's a lot of people that have been stepping up too, who have been helping me a lot, so that has been helping me a lot. But with my experience, it's bound for that to happen, and I'm enjoying the challenge, taking it day by day, seeing what I can do, what I can be better at, what I can help everyone with. So it's just a day by day experience.
What are some things personally that you've been working on in the off season trying to improve?
My fitness, defending has been one, but honestly, my biggest thing that I've been working on has been my off the field improvement, like my mental training, all that type of things, like leadership, mentality, just off the field confidence things to help me in games, practices.
In the spring, you talked a little bit about that in the mental aspect, and coming back from injury was a big step for you, and kind of ascending to becoming a goal scorer. What went into that last off season that you've tried to continue this season, or maybe you've tried to do differently?
I just really focus on gaining my confidence. I mean, you play so much different when you have confidence within you, and I found that was my biggest thing that kept me being successful last fall. Just confidence and just having trust within yourself and everyone you're with in your team, and it's gonna work out.
Have you kind of sensed that with the rest of the team as well?
Yeah, this team is definitely, with our new coach, John, he's really big on mentality training, and we are doing so many meetings about the mental side, not even soccer related, just mental training. And you can see it off the field and on the field, especially with new people. And I think that is the next level of becoming a great player and then a successful team.
Got time for one or two more? Anything else?
Allie, I know you had the chance to go pro last offseason. What went into that decision to come back here?
I think that everyone has so many things that they can improve on that can help them be more successful in the next level. And I saw things that I wanted to, get to the best of my ability at before taking the opportunity for the next level. And I think me being in a leadership role is something that will really help me for the next level, having this experience and just continuing to grow myself on and off the field.
I was going to ask you about your role on the team this year. You made 18 appearances last year, all off the bench. So how do you foresee your role changing, if at all, going into this year?
I think from last year, obviously there's that experience piece. I'm a senior this year, and we obviously have a younger team, so I think there's a little bit of that leadership role from me, just whether that's an actual role or just leading by example. I think that's a big part of that. I'm hoping obviously I can make a good impact on and off the field with that leadership role, but yeah, I would say that's that.
How maybe are things a little different? New coaches come in, they hire new staff members, and everybody puts their fingerprints. What maybe changes have you seen in maybe the training plan?
I think it's obviously a different group of girls, but that doesn't mean our values as a team change. I think we did a lot of growing throughout the spring, a lot of hard work, and to see these new girls come in and embrace that really, and being able to carry that into the fall is a really good feeling. And I don't think it matters who's here necessarily, as long as we all have the same belief system and we're all bought into the same cause. So I think that's kind of where we're at with that. And it's been a lot of hard work over the summer, throughout the spring, to get us where we are, and we're excited for the fall.
There's some big shoes to fill on defense with Riley and Alexis leaving. What has your role kind of been in that, not only with your own position, but also bringing up some of the younger players into those roles?
I think obviously I worked with Riley a lot in the fall, throughout practice and stuff like that, but kind of I learned a lot through the fall, and being able to take what I've learned and teach that to the people that are coming in and kind of be that role model for them, but then also being aware of what they may not have experienced in the fall and kind of leading them in that way.
Who are some of the transfers that have impressed you so far?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Who are some of the transfers that have impressed you so far that you've gotten to know?
I think, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and call out one specific person, but I think all of them have really put their best foot forward, and they're all really killing it in this transition, obviously, into an SEC school and a Power 5 conference. And they're all looking really good. I'm really proud of them.
You guys last year were expected to do well, and maybe you even exceeded expectations, winning the first ever SEC title. But now you kind of go from being the hunter to the hunted. Everybody now circles that game against Mississippi State. How do you feel like you guys are ready to handle that part of the challenge?
I think that's the most exciting part. We got something to prove. We're not ones to toot our own horn, so we're always up for the challenge. But it's always exciting when everybody's got your name circled on the calendar, and it's everybody's going to put their best foot forward against you, so you got to work extra hard to put your best foot forward against them.
Got time for one or two more.
The defense was really stingy last year. How much did the defenders take pride in all that, and want that to continue, obviously?
Obviously, for me as a defender, that's one of my biggest prize. A clean sheet means the world to me, so I think being able to bring that into this season again and just embrace that belief, in that value, is going to be big for us this season.
The defense has asked of a lot in this team, where it's playing with the ball at their feet and being involved in build-up play. Was that something you considered a strength coming here, and how has that part of your game kind of evolved since you became a Bulldog?
I honestly didn't think it was a strength when I was coming here, but I do think it's something that they have built in me. It's something that I've gotten comfortable doing, being on the ball. It allows us to play a different kind of soccer, a better kind of soccer. And yeah, I think it just makes us better defenders as a whole.